Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 will take us to the 10th of July. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and GFS Ensembles. Maybe around a couple of weeks, we'll have a look at the CFS V2 at the end of the video for July. And I'll get on with that for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video we say was 6 AM UK weather forecast, and we've also released GMA Friday as well, so please check out those two videos if you would like to do that. Like, share, subscribe on all of the videos, and thank you so very much everybody for doing that. Hope you're having a lovely Friday. Your weekend starts here, everyone. Hope you're having a lovely Friday. Okay, let's start off with the CET then. Central temperature is currently sitting at 17.1, which is 3 degrees above average. That's provisional to yesterday, to the 29th of June. So with just one day to go, we are still over 17 degrees. We're going to do this, I think. The CT will either come in at 17. That's gone wrong, hasn't it? The CT will either come in at 17.0 or it'll be 17.1, I would think. It is a little bit cooler today where I am in Northants. I think it's indicative of the CT region, so it's a cooler, cloudier day, so that might see the CT edge down by 0.1 of a degree. But if it does, it will still be at 17. So this is going to be the warmest or hottest June certainly for well over 100 years. This beats 1976, which now has a CT of 16.9, and we'll discuss it much more tomorrow. We'll we'll talk about this much more tomorrow when we have the finalised number in. Hopefully, anyway, we'll have the finalised number in tomorrow for the CT. But yeah, quite remarkable to get June into the 17s, and it looks like we have done that. We are going to do that. So we shall confirm though tomorrow. If it gets downwards corrected to 16.9, I shall be very embarrassed, but I don't think it will, because they don't do that big sort of downwards correction now that they used to do like a year or so ago. We'll see anyway, all will be revealed tomorrow. Right, these were GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're going to Edinburgh today. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Edinburgh. Still a little bit above average with the upper air temperature today, but things will be turning cooler through the first week of July with the upper air temperatures falling below average. Towards next weekend, we have got a little bit of a warm-up that's appearing for a couple of days. This is around the 8th, 9th of July, 8th, 9th, possibly to 10th. Just a bit of a hint, but we might get some hotter weather developing then. If we do, it'll be very brief, I think, and it will break down into thunderstorms quickly. But the second weekend of July might turn quite hot very briefly, and then after that it looks like we're close to average with those upper air temperatures as we move out towards the middle part of July. Precipitation wise, looks quite unsettled for July as well, for Edinburgh I should say, through the first half of July as well. So starting off with some rainfall today, a little bit drier over weekend, but rainfall comes back next week with this cooler interlude, and around this period actually where things are becoming quite warm, around sort of 8th, 9th, 10th of July. Then we see some quite big precipitation spikes, and that tells us that although it could become hot briefly next weekend, second weekend of July, if it does, it will very quickly break into possibly quite big thunderstorms and heavy rain as well. So could be quite an interesting weekend for the 8th and the 9th of July. Temperature anomalies from the 30th of June to the 8th of July coming out below average, not just for the UK, but for much of Western Europe as well. I'm including that large borders to Scandinavia, so definitely a bit of a cool down going on across the north and west Europe at the moment. Precipitation anomalies from the 30th of June, 8th of July, average a bit wetter average for Scotland and Northern Ireland, and drier than average for much of England and Wales. Latest Windflow Map from earthnullschool.net shows that the air is coming in from off the Atlantic today. We've got an area of low pressure to northwest Scotland feeding in these westerly winds, and they're bringing cloud and rain, with rain particularly to the north and west. And these unsettled conditions continue through into the beginning of next week as well. So going through the chart data, this is how the latest UK Met Euro run is looking for midnight on Monday. Low pressure over Scandinavia, bringing in those showery westerly winds. Beyond that, we turn the wind into a northwesterly northerly through the early part of next week. That's quite cool there with that as well. And still looks rather showery too. Just by the end of the UK Met Euro run, which gets us to Friday, 7th of July, a week away, we just see a little bit of a hint of some higher pressure starting to ridge up from the southwest. We've got an area of low pressure in the Atlantic. So the way this would work is the high pressure would ridge up, and then the low pressure would move in from the west. And as that happens, we would draw up potentially a very warm or possibly hot southerly, but of course it could break down quite quickly into thunderstorms, and that's what we're thinking about for the weekend of the 8th of the 9th of July. I can't, again, with that area of low pressure over Scandinavia and to the northeast Scotland on Monday next week, bringing in those rather cool, showery northwesterly winds. We keep it rather unsettled and showery throughout most of next week, but again, just by the very end of Icon, gets us to midday on Friday, 7th of July, with just a little bit of a hint of higher pressure building to our east with some low pressure out to west. So again, see how the isobars and the wind direction turning around into more of a southerly. That is a warmer, hotter wind direction, but of course, with the low pressure in the Atlantic, it's also likely to be volatile. So rain, thunderstorms could be included if the temperature starts pushing up high enough. That's how the upper air temperatures look. Plus 10 Celsius isosphere there, getting in towards the south coast by next Friday. GFS midnight run, again with that area of low pressure way to the northeast, pulling in those cool, showery northwest winds through the early part of next week. Looks quite unsettled through much of next week, but again, you get to the weekend of the 8th of the 9th of July, and we find we've got areas of low pressure west of Ireland, which is high pressure building to our east. That is allowing warmer or hotter air start moving up from the south, but only briefly, and then low pressure comes meandering in from off the Atlantic, will bring potentially heavy rain and thunderstorms with it. And once that gets out of the way, then we're looking at mixed weather really continuing up to the middle of the month. Gets us to the 16th of July today with the GFS output. GFS 6 then, again with the wind in from the northwest on Monday, rather showery, a bit on the cool side too, heading through next week. Stays rather mixed with further showers to come into the weekend of the 8th and the 9th of July. Again, same idea, we've got high pressure reaching northwards through western central Europe, so high pressure centre over Germany and Poland, low pressure out to west of Ireland. We draw up a very warm or potentially quite hot southerly wind, plus 15 Celsius isosphere is getting in towards France there by Saturday. So yes, could turn very warm briefly next weekend, but also could be volatile as the low pressure comes in from off the Atlantic. It could bring heavy showers, long spells of rain and thunderstorms with it. We're into just an unsettled scenario with low pressure centre over the top of the country. And we keep it rather cool and showery then right the way up to the end of GFS 6 there. By the 16th of July, as far as we get to just a sign of high pressure starting to ridge up from the Azores then. If you're enjoying the video, please do like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids, get them to subscribe to. Thank you so much for doing that. We need to put on just 12 subscribers now. 12 to get ourselves to 16.4k. So if you could give us a sub, that would be amazing. Thank you so much everyone. Right, GM, again for that area of low pressure over Scandinavia on Monday, rather cool and showery with those northwesterly winds, keeping it rather cool and showery throughout most of next week. But again, bit of a change when we get into the second weekend of July as high pressure builds, perhaps a little bit more strongly compared to other models to our east. Low pressure out to west, that brings up a very warm, actually hot southerly. So you do get plus 15 Celsius isosphere there in across England and Wales by midnight Saturday to Sunday, 8th and 9th. Dry sea, very hot air, plus 20 Celsius isosphere is moving northwards through France. It is volatile, so heavy showers, thunderstorms breaking out as a Thundery low develops from Biscay, and of course you also have a main low to the west of Ireland as well. But the upper air temperatures are hot, plus 20 Celsius isosphere gets as far north as the low countries there with the GEM run. So that could be quite a hot weekend, but as I say, also the risk of some heavy showers and or thunderstorms. And then ECM looks like this. Winds in from the northwest, rather cool, showery conditions for Monday. On into next week, again, we've got a secondary low here, bringing more persistent spells of rain and potentially some very strong winds around the middle of next week. But again, once that gets out of the way, second weekend of July starts seeing some much warmer weather, beginning to develop as hotter air pushes up from the south. Again, it could be a little bit on the volatile side with this area of low pressure out to our west. That might bring some thunderstorms with it. That's how it looks as we get to the end of the ECM run. Still really maintaining quite dry and warm weather, actually. The upper air temperatures aren't overly hot, but you see just to our south there's some very hot air lurking. This is the precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Meteo.com. So we are looking at showers over this weekend, particularly in the northwest. Not too much in the southeast, and then early next week actually those showers become more widespread before the middle of next week brings this massive heavy rain and strong winds sweeping in from off the Atlantic. So the middle of next week looking very unsettled there with spells of rain and whatnot. Things start drying out through the second half of next week and into the second weekend of July. These scattered thunderstorms breaking out as that hotter air begins to move up from the south. Mostly dry though by the time you get to the 10th of July. Day 10. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensembles today for Day 10. From the Icelandic Met Office, it gets us to the 10th of July. So we've got 11 members of the ECM Ensembles with low pressure out to our west and southwest. High pressure is away to our east and northeast. And winds are coming up from a southerly or a southwesterly direction. Very warm, but as the low pressure comes in off Atlantic, it might be the trigger for some thunder. 11 with high pressure just to our east, below average heights out to west. And again, that draws up wind from a very warm southerly direction. Potentially 10 with high pressure reaching from the south out into the Atlantic. Should be quite a lot of dry, warm weather with that. Another 10 with low pressure across the UK and Ireland through the north and the west of Europe. And 9 here with low pressure just out to our west. And so they're the most unsettled option. The 9 and the 10 there, so that's 19 quite unsettled with low pressure in control. The 11 here not that far away either. But of course we do have the other 11 there and the 10 there that are drier and hotter at day 10. And then 2 week timings of the options that we've got gets to the 15th of July. 20 members of the ECM Ensembles with low pressure part over Scotland and across the north of the UK. So that will bring rather cool and showery conditions in from the Atlantic up to the middle of July there. 12 with low pressure over Scandinavia, high pressure in the Atlantic, so rather showery, a little bit on the cool side with northwesterly winds too. 7 with a deep trough of low pressure right over top of the coast. That looks very unsettled, doesn't it? And 6 with low pressure to the west of Ireland, high pressure to our north and east. With that, we bring up wind from a southwesterly direction. And then lastly, 6 here with high pressure reaching from France up towards the North Atlantic. Low pressure is out there. That low pressure could trigger some heavy showers and thunderstorms. But with the high pressure in control as well to our south and east, there should be a lot of very warm weather as the winds coming up from a southerly direction. Bit of a mixed bag, I have to say, with both ensembles at both day 10 and 14. There is a range of options that we've got going on there, I think. So we wait to see. We wait and see whether things will settle into the second week of July and up to the middle part of that. So the first week of July is going to be cool and showery, and it's a case now, I think, of waiting to see how long it takes us to get back to some sustained high pressure. But remember, we could get that hot couple of days over the weekend of the 8th and the 9th of July. CFS B2 finally for July. This is the final salvo from the CFS today for July, and looking a bit unsettled with below average heights across Scotland, high pressure down towards Spain, so that brings wind in from a westerly, southwesterly direction. That will be a mixed July. The temperature anomaly is no better than average, so we have seen quite a cool down from the CFS Monthlies as June has gone along. You remember that a couple of weeks ago, CFS was forecasting a very hot and cyclonic dry July. Now it is looking a little bit cooler and a little bit more unsettled, although there is no indication, there's no prediction for precipitation, just going for average or no signal probably. But in reality, if we do get an area of low pressure developing to the north of Scotland through much of the month, then I suspect it would be a little bit of a wetter than average month, particularly in the northern half of the country. Tomorrow, the CFS Monthlies will be starting to show conditions for August, actually. So that will be really interesting, I think, to see what the CFS goes for August. We shall wait and see. Okay, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please can you like, share, subscribe, make sure everybody to do that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos, and don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Get them to subscribe to me. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that for us. I just said it's coming up over the weekend. So tomorrow we're going to have 6 a.m. UK weather forecast. We're going to have the ECM WF42 day forecast for UK and Ireland. There'll be the weekend forecast and 10 to 14 day. We'll be confirming whether BCT for June has indeed come in at 17 degrees, hopefully tomorrow. And then on Sunday, again, 6 a.m. UK weather forecast, there'll be the next autumn update as well, looking at June data this week, I think. And there's also going to be 10-14 day, and we'll be live streaming at 6 p.m. So we are returning to our old live stream slot. The Monday live stream is going back to Sunday at 6, the original time and day for GavsWeatherVids live stream, and we'll be doing long range, of course, on our Sunday live stream. So it's going to be an epic weekend. You enjoy your weekend, and if you can, check in to our videos and also to our live stream on Sunday evening. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. I'll have to see The Shining tonight at the View in Northampton. So old scare movie. I'm going to go and watch Jack Nicholson going insane in a snowbound hotel in Colorado. So it's going to be a fun night. I'm going to enjoy that. And yeah, so that's what I'll be doing tonight. But whatever you're doing, have a fantastic rest of your Friday. And for this one, though, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you over the weekend, and bye for now.